MarqueeHireGuide.com is a comprehensive online directory of companies specialising in marquee hire and all associated products. You will be able to find a hire company for all your event needs, from caterers to fireworks, toilet hire to photographers, and everything in between. Today I'll speak to Gary Bennett from MarqueeHireGuide.com about the things you should consider when planning a marquee event, and some of the questions you should ask your potential marquee hire company. Gary, good morning.
Hi.
Thanks for your time this morning. So, what are the first things somebody would need to consider when hiring a marquee?
Well, to start with, you need somewhere to put the marquee up. There are thousands of potential marquee venues around the country, from sports grounds to country houses, golf courses to schools. And if you're lucky enough to have the space available on private land, then many people host marquee events on private properties. Your hire company will be able to do a site visit and assess the suitability of your potential venue. If you don't have anywhere in mind, local marquee hire companies will often have lists of potential venues and will be able to point you in the right direction.
Okay, and how much space would I need to accommodate a marquee?
Well, it really depends on the size of the marquee you're having, and this depends on the number of guests that you're inviting and the layout of the marquee. For example, if you're having, let's say, 100 guests, and they will be standing only with buffet tables at one end of the marquee, then you don't need as much room as you would with 100 people formally seated. There is a size guide on our website, and as with the example just mentioned, if you had 100 guests standing, then a 6 metre by 15 metre marquee would be fine. But if you wanted those 100 guests to be seated at tables with a dance floor, you would probably need a 9 metre by 18 metre marquee to accommodate this. It is also worth bearing in mind whether you need a service tent for your caterers to work in. These size examples are where we're talking about a frame marquee, which has no guy ropes and can be put up with very little extra space required around the perimeter of the structure. Whereas with a traditional marquee, you would need more space around the perimeter to allow for guy ropes. These are the two most popular styles of marquee, the frame marquee and the traditional marquee, but there are also many other types of structure that are used for events these days.
I see. So, what other kinds of marquee are available?
The most commonly used marquees for events in the UK are frame marquees. These marquees are built in differing widths and can extend to as long as is needed. Traditional marquees with guy ropes around the outside are often used as well. In addition to these, there are a number of different types of temporary structures that include things like stretch tents, teepees, capri marquees, yurts, Bedouin tents, mogul tents, big tops and wigwams. Further explanations of each of these, as well as pictures, can be seen on our website.
Let's say that I've hired a marquee for my event. Should I have an interior lining?
If you host your event in a marquee, there will be loads of options available for decorating the inside. Your hire company will be able to talk you through this. One of the major considerations will be interior linings. These are used to give an aesthetically pleasing finish and will be available in a whole range of colour schemes to match your event. The look can then also be enhanced with lighting and theming, and there will be many specialist companies out there who can help you with this.
And what about temperature inside the marquee? Should I hire a heater?
With the unpredictability of the British weather, there is always a chance that things will not go in your favour. Heating is obviously essential during winter. However, even during the summer months, it is advisable to have heaters on standby. You should book your heaters in advance and not rely on leaving it to the last minute, as many hirers only have a limited number available.
And how much power does a marquee require?
Power requirements are a very important consideration. Caterers, bands, DJs, lighting and heating can require a large amount of power. Most reputable marquee hirers use a qualified electrician who will specialise in installing power for outdoor events. They can tap into the main fuse board of the nearest building and run a high-capacity power cable to the marquee with a distribution board on the end. Make sure that whoever performs this operation is a qualified electrician. Additionally, a separate generator could be hired to provide the power. For larger events, it is sensible to consider the hire of a backup generator and even a standby electrician for the evening, because if there was to be a power failure, your event could be ruined.
So would a marquee hire company require a deposit?
It is worth finding this out early on to avoid any unexpected bills and to also guarantee your date with your marquee hire company. At this point, you can also discuss public liability insurance with the company.
So what about things like furniture and dance floors? Do marquee hire companies provide that themselves?
Most marquee companies will have a certain amount of furniture for your event, as well as things like dance floors. But don't assume this. Make sure you ask, especially if you are after a specific style or type of furniture. Your marquee hire company will be able to advise on the size of dance floor needed, depending on the number of guests attending your event.
Right, well this has been very informative. Gary, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. And further information, as well as suppliers for all of your event needs, can be found on our website. www.marqueehireguide.com.